I've never heard MCs or rappers actually talking about real things that real people want to hear to real people.
It's a bad thing. Well, first of all, you got a lot of people in the business, those certain MCs who are probably 25 and up, but they're acting and dressing like children. So when Chuck D shows up and speaks on the issues of life, you know, politics, economics, family, education, or when DMC does it, or when KRS-One does it, or, you know, even when somebody like Nas does it, or, you know, especially when Africa Bambaataa or you hear Flash and them do it. When I go and speak to kids, I go to colleges and I go to high schools, and recently I started going into the middle schools, which is crazy, speaking to, you know, sixth graders.
7th and 8th.
Yeah, that's really deep there, but a lot of the kids, and also a lot of my so-called younger peers of this new generation of hip-hop, they'll look at me and go, DMC, you're just saying that because, you know, you're 40 years old now, you've been in hip-hop for 25 years, and, you know, you're more educated and more mature. And I got to look at these young brothers and sisters and say, yo, that may be true, but I've been saying this since I was 12 years old.
Right.
They don't know that most of the great rappers who, when you say hip-hop, the first names and ideas and music and images come to your head, they don't know that most of those rappers been writing like this since they were probably 12 to no older than, let's say, 23 years old, you know. And what's bad about the situation with this hip-hop music is when you have the executives or the music business people go, hip-hop is a young person's music, and, you know, you got people in the game who is doing hip-hop going, you know, when I get 30, 35 years old, I won't even be doing hip-hop anymore. I think what happened over the years is that they took the value of what hip-hop meant to the audience, and they threw it in the gutter. I mean, even before hip-hop records was made, when you stepped to that microphone,
right,
you knew you had a responsibility. You know, you look at Rakim, he could have made a record that said, I'm Rakim Allah, Mr. Stick-Up Kid, and I do all of this. Right. And he could have probably sold 60 million records, you know, the way some of these artists who talk about those certain issues and conditions in our society. But he said, I used to roll up, this a hold up. So all the stick-up kids and the drug dealers, that was even more inspiring to them, because here is a guy that is rocking the mic, who is like a god to them, who's talking about the things that we do or we had to do just to get by. Here's a guy that did it, but he's talking about it in a positive way. So these guys were inspired to say, yo, that's real cool. But it's different because the corporations or the companies or the media don't realize that hip-hop has a sacredness to it. Right. And it was always about responsibility.
On all parts, because, you know, we were talking, you know, earlier off camera, and we said what the difference is that when somebody like Jay-Z says he used to sell crack, and the media and everybody looking to do their particular job for whatever it might be, will upplay that.
Right, exactly.
Instead of, you know, upplaying the positive aspect, they'll go back. And where somebody like Rakim might say, this is what he used to do, there was always a surrounding care and concern around hip-hop that says, yeah, we know that, but we won't upplay that. We'll downplay that.
Exactly. If Rakim said that now, they would only focus, oh, he's a stick-up kid. And they would only go at him for more stick-up kid business and the dirt and crime. Like, when I said, I'm DMC, and the place to be, I go to St. John's University. They didn't focus on that.
I'm DMC, in the place to be. I go to St. John's University. And since kindergarten, I applied the knowledge. And at the 12th grade, I went straight to college.
It sent so many people to college. It sent so many people to St. John's.
I was just going to say that because there's an instance I'm on the radio and the dude will call in and say, yo, man, I'm from LA, and just for you and Run saying it. You didn't preach it, just for you and Run saying that, man, I dropped out the gang, I stopped selling drugs, I went and got a GED. I went and got a GED, and I got into community college, and I realized there was a whole world of opportunity that existed for me. And he said, that was because of hip-hop. Man, I'm in $1 million house with 3 whips outside. That's just for you saying that. But when I look at Time magazines and Ford, they'll write about a rapper, former crack dealer turned CEO of his own company. And they'll play up this crack and they'll talk about how many bricks he cooked. And then the rapper's still rapping about the bricks that he cooked and stuff like that. They don't realize, like you said, this guy got 1 million people looking at him. And for me, it's not against a personal attack on these artists, or it's not against I don't even know them personally, but when they write former crack dealer who is now CEO, it makes these kids in the hood saying it's okay to sell crack,
right?
Because I could be famous, which is contrary. That's not true.
And it's the breadcrumbs that lead that, and anybody that thinks that they want to be an MC, which used to be like, okay, I'll tell the truth. I have these dreams ever since, you know, Rappers Delight. If you want to go back to records, you know, like Hotel, Motel.
Oh, you wanted a Lincoln Continental in a pool?
Right, he wanted those things, and he tried to figure it out, you know.
But you knew there was a standard.
Right.
You knew.
Right.
Okay, for me to be a rapper, I got to clean up my act.
Right.
I got to say something positive.
Can't use the same word over and over again.
It's like this. If you make a record about a gun with hip hop, I don't care about any other music. If you make a record about a gun, you have to, because it's hip hop. And the record companies, they need to hear this, and the artists today need to hear. If you make a record about a gun, you have to make a record about not using a gun. If you make a record about a bitch in a hole, you have to make a record about Miss McGillicuddy, because a lot of these rappers, they'll use the excuse, man, we only rap about what we see. I don't care if it's a dirt poor ghetto in Little Rock, Arkansas. Growing up, you knew there was that one lady who got up every morning, went to the bus stop, rode 2 hours to clean a house and came back. She sent all her kids to college. Rapper man, your responsibility is to rap.
Because you see that, not only do you see that, but you know that. And so you're saying that, you know, these elements surrounding over the last 25 years has led a lot of rappers who basically might believe one thing, but feel like they're forced to say another.
Exactly. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And we didn't want really public approval. It's like, you know, a lot of rappers say, man, I just do that because that's what the people want. You know, I got to get people to like me. We didn't want you to like me. For instance, it's something you said earlier. When we used to walk the line to go to the MTV Music Awards, like I was sitting a couple of years ago, I was sitting there downstairs with young white kid. Right. He knows Dr. Dre. He knows Jay-Z, he knows Run DMC, but he also knows Led Zeppelin, and he loves Rick Rubin. Right. So we're sitting there watching the VMAs when it first went to Miami. So I'm sitting there with him because I was talking about him producing some music for me. And he goes, DMC, what do you think about this? Is this what hip-hop came to? What do you think about this? And I'm, you know, I don't pay attention to MTV because there's nothing there for me. And I'm looking. And I'm looking and I'm like, wow, this is crazy, because I'm watching the VJ go, you got the superstars coming up, Game and 50 and Ludacris and Diddy and everybody. And they're coming up the ramp, the red carpet, and they got the cars to do the hop and the rims and stuff like that. And the VJ runs up to them and goes, hey, man, what kind of rims is that on your car? And he does like this. Right. And then the rapper answers him. And then he goes, hey, man, what kind of jewels is that? Man, this is my Jacob. Now, if you look at hip-hop, even when they try to tease us, when they do a comedy, they'll have the three-stripe Adidas suits, Adidas, the Gazelles, the whole Run DMC look. But they're doing that, even though they're teasing it, it's a respect there, because this is good. It's a standard. This is the standard. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, oh my God. Then I thought about Jay, because we used to walk the MTV lane, and if a guy was to say, Jay, is that a dookie rope on you? Jay would be like, man, you ask me that stupid question again, I'm going to smack you in your face. Because what they used to ask us was this, yo, Run DMC, why did you say what you said? And we was able to relay why we said that. And why did you make that music? What made you make that album? Those are the kind of questions we used to get on the red carpet. And just for our audience hearing that, there was always change in the community. See, I try to tell people the reason why rap did what it did to change the world, because it was good. Right. Even if it was an NWA or a Just Ice or KRS-One or Run DMC or Public Enemy, all those different ideas and concepts was put on a record, but it was presented to you in a responsible manner. And
a respect to the standard. We're going to go to another segment. This is Chuck D on the Real, off the record, with the King of Rock himself, Mr. Darryl McDaniels, Mr. DMC, when we return to Burn. Keep it locked, because it's going to be a long, good one, all right?